right, thanks, Andrew. Appreciate that intro. And like Andrew said, my name is Reed Jackson. This is Brianna Perry-Lang. And we're really excited to show off our AI Service Advisor, talk through a few of the capabilities that we have today, and then also a few things that are coming very soon for Fleetio customers. One thing I'll just double down on from what Andrew said is we built the Service Advisor on this great foundation of data, and we've really done this intentionally to fit within existing workflows of how fleets operate. We don't want to invent a new way for fleet managers or operators to work. We don't want to hire AI experts to work with the Service Advisor. We're just improving the core workflows that already exist. So I'll get into some actual examples here of how we are getting hundreds of thousands of vehicles already managed with the AI Service Advisor. And I'll start with our flagship capability that we call Smart Assessments. Our goal with this is to reduce the amount of time that fleets are spending in the shop, reduce the amount of things that fleets are paying for that they shouldn't be paying for, and then also discover opportunities to bundle services together. So I'm going to pull up a service entry here in Fleetio. The way that Smart Assessments work is we scan every service that comes into the platform. We look for all of the relevant information to that service. That includes not only the service itself, but vehicles history, the vendor's history, related services. And in fact, here's what the Service Advisor looked at to create the assessment on screen, which is 59 pages of data that goes into every assessment that runs. This one's a little bit longer than most, but hopefully that's a good visual representation of all of the information that the Service Advisor takes into account when it's making this assessment here. So let's zoom in, and we see we had to look at this coolant service and assigned it a requires review assessment. So requires review doesn't necessarily mean anything's wrong with the service. It just means that the Service Advisor looked at it, wasn't able to give a full sign-off. It just wants the manager to take a second look before approving. And we see the reasoning for that spelled out in plain English below. And in this case, the jumpstart fee and the coolant labor was throwing a little flag, and we want to take a look at that. So scroll down, we see that each individual line item has the data that was used to make the assessment here. The fleet manager has that in context. They can see that we're a little bit above average pricing for this jumpstart. You may want to ask about that. We also see that same flag for the coolant service down here. I do want to call out this ABS sensor block service as well. And if you can't see that, we're throwing a flag that we don't have enough data to make an assessment here. And we are really sensitive with our Service Advisor to making the wrong recommendations, or even worse, making up data. I think we've all had experiences with AI hallucinating and tell you things untruthfully. In this case, we didn't have enough data to call them as ABS sensor block service. So instead of just making up a number, the Service Advisor is going to be honest and simply tells you that we just don't have enough information to bring this in. We have about 20% of services on the platform that get flagged this way. It happens from cost discrepancies like this. It happens from duplicative services like this that got flagged. And we're adding more and more flags every day and week. As few things that are coming up are warranty opportunities, where if you can possibly warranty a service, we want to flag that for you. Book time labor discrepancies are coming in as well, policy violations. And we're continuing to build on this to make these assessments smarter and smarter. So by flagging what needs attention, we get these routine services approved faster, and that's shown up in the data. For accounts that have been using our assessments through the Service Advisor, we've seen a 16% reduction in the time that their vehicles are spending in the shop. So they can get those ones out faster and spend more time on the ones that require a little bit of review. So that's hours of downtime a week that we are avoiding with our customers. And I think we'll have an even bigger impact with what I'll show you next. And when things look good, Fleetio customers see something like this. So here we have a simple PMA. We topped up the washer fluid. No one's trying to sell you some new windshield wipers, so the Service Advisor says this is acceptable. Today, Fleetio customers just have to hit that big green button, and the vehicle is going to get serviced and get out of the shop. What we're beginning to test now is letting customers specify approval limits where the advisor, if it deems a service acceptable, will go ahead and communicate with the shop, auto-approve the work without a manager ever having to lay a hand on it. So we'll see what that looks like here. Really excited about what the efficiency this is going to create for fleets, getting those routine services flowing, but also giving time back to focus on the services that need a little bit more of that expertise that only really exists for the service manager or fleet manager, whoever's managing these services. So that's smart assessments. I'll give you one more look into now the front end of the maintenance lifecycle, and I'll show you smart priorities. And this is how a service advisor manages unplanned services. So when you look at the most efficient fleets in Fleetio, one thing they all shared in common was just ruthlessly prioritizing and resolving their issues. They had no open issues. They worked through them really efficiently. So we built a capability for the service advisor called Smart Priorities. And when an issue gets created, either through a failed inspection, recall, or in this case that we have the arrow at, a fuel system error that was raised as a telematics fault, the service advisor is automatically going to prioritize it for you. In this case, it's prioritizing as a critical issue. The fleet manager has the rationale for that decision right here. It's easily auditable, and there's simple feedback as well that helps steer these decisions in the future and allow the service advisor to continue to learn how this fleet operates. So it's not going to do that for just one issue, but it's going to do it for every new issue that gets created in Fleetio as soon as it gets created. That way, a fleet manager has a grouped list of the most critical things they need to work on without doing a lot of guesswork, and oftentimes issues require a lot of guesswork. Honestly, this has been one of the most surprising things I've worked on in my career because we built it pretty simply. We're assigning a label to issues, but even though we're just announcing this today, Fleetio customers have been able to turn this on for a couple months. And in the month of March, the service advisor is actually going to prioritize more issues than actual fleet managers do. This is not just a label. We've actually seen this result in a significant time to resolve issues as well, because they're able to work from the top down, the most important issues down to the least important ones. That's great. Something that's really going to level us up here and gets really interesting is when we can actually start working to resolve issues on behalf of the fleet. So you see that on the screen here with a set of recommended services to resolve that fuel system issue that got raised earlier. And just as a reminder, this is one piece of text that we had, but because the service advisor had instant access to all of the relevant data, all of the OEM service specs, we're able to build the work order for them, and all they have to do is click accept and get it in. We can estimate the downtime and cost as well, so you can start to forecast what this looks like weeks, potentially months in advance. Hopefully this issue doesn't take months to resolve. And finally, since we have access to the vehicle and all of its preventative maintenance scheduling, we can see that an oil change is coming up, and we can recommend just go ahead and bundle that service in, reduce downtime down the line. So that's our initial showcase. Much more to come this year. I'll hand it over to Bree to close this out and open for questions.
I'll keep it short. The AI Service Advisor is now in open beta. This is just the beginning of how AI is evolving fleet decision making. And we're really excited to partner with fleets to build the future of fleet maintenance.